mom and dad how to do every now and then.
Right?
No. It's the mute button. Not the mute that's right in front of you. The mute for the computer. You,
Yeah.
you have the computer on mute.
He can hear you.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. It's the mute. It's the other button. It's the other. I mean, since the pandemic, I think everybody's parents have gotten better, but
Yeah. Yeah.
there's still that funny oddness where it's like, how do you? Why isn't it working? If it's not
What's
like a
going
phone,
on? Why? Yeah. Always.
not like a phone and super basic, then there might be a little technical difficulties. But hey, welcome back. I'm RJ, or maybe I'm Pat McAfee. It's a very visual joke for me because I'm wearing a tank top because it's warm and it's nice and cozy in here. And he likes to be on TV wearing just a tank top, which I respect and I wish I could do. But
Be on
anyway,
TV or just wear a tank top around
well,
town?
just wearing tank top whenever
Sure.
appropriate, because there's certain things that you just don't want to do, and one of those things is be on national broadcast television, ESPN, wearing just a tank top. It's
It is
something
a
that
bold move.
it's something that I wouldn't do. But hey, man, he's comfortable and he's kind of funny, so it is what it is.
Yeah, why not?
But this isn't about Pat McAfee or me. It's about our friend Dazzler.
It is about Dazzler, and I'm Matt, and we are here to discuss. Are you ready for this? The final episode of Dazzler solo series. Nope, final issue. Already screwed it up. Big reveal. Final issue of
We're
Dazzler
doing it
solo
live.
series.
Do it live!
F- it.
Issue 42. We have a slight change to our creative team, I believe, because it is issue 42 titled Curtain, written by Archie Goodwin with pencils by Paul Chadwick. Yes, our inker is no longer Jackson Juice. It is Romeo Tungal. Colors by Petra Scatesi and letters by Jim Novak.
The issue 42, part of me was like, oh, I wonder if this is a callback to all those Jackie Robinson references earlier in the series. It's
That's
like, no,
amazing.
no, you're thinking about this too much,
Thinking
and
too hard.
you're making it worse. Like you're giving yourself just diarrhea for no reason. But yeah, because they have it, like, I thought it was kind of funny, or not. I don't know what the word is. It's kind of cute, kind of charming, kind of interesting that along the top of that, that front cover, they put "Because You Demanded It," the last issue of the Dazzler, where it seems kind of backhanded.
Yeah.
Where they're almost saying it like,
Nobody wanted this anymore.
yeah, it's almost like they're saying, hey, because you told us to stop, here's the last one.
Here it is. This is it.
Or I couldn't really tell if it was like, is that a
I
good
don't know if
thing?
it was tongue in cheek or
Yeah.
like you demanded we do one more because
Yeah.
it's so popular. Like I couldn't tell.
Is it good? Is it bad?
I do have to say though, I do love this cover. It is Paul Chadwick. He's doing his best to do the style of our longtime cover artist Bill Sienkiewicz. So he's definitely like going outside of the normal Paul Chadwick stuff we've been seeing and doing his best Bill Sienkiewicz. It's definitely, he doesn't do Bill Sienkiewicz as well as Bill Sienkiewicz. No question about that. But it does look like his style. And we have Dazzler passed out on the ground, being held by OZ Chase, and behind them, oh yes, it's Hank McCoy, straight from the pages of Beauty and the Beast.
Just pointing his finger out at the reader.
So angry.
I mean, it's fine. I think it was it's a little bit much to try to sell issues because they really played up the dramatic aspect of it.
Oh yeah.
But also looking at the cover of the previous issue, it's kind of more of I guess it's a little reassuring that they made this last issue because people were asking for it. Because if you look at the earlier issue, like issue 41, that one was in January. And we didn't get 42 until March, which is kind of out of the ordinary. Usually they would have it, the month after. So maybe there was something to that where they were out of it for a bit, or they hadn't had new issues for a while, and people were like, hey, are you finishing this run or not?
It's hard to tell because they were also shaking up the line at this point, and I think they just thought there could only be so many mutant books on the shelf. Like, even in the last issue, we saw a coming soon for X Factor ad. We get another X Factor reference in this issue. Clearly, that was top of mind. Like, I need to double check because I'm not 100% sure that this book was actually failing as much as they wanted a more superhero, more X-Men all-star book
Hmm.
and didn't have the budget to print so many books per month at the same time.
That's probably more realistic because now as I go through this book and I shuffle through the pages to try to look at these, revisit these covers and their dates again, it looks like there was a day or a month in between
It
each of
might have
the
been shipping
issues.
bi-monthly. It may have been a 6 issue a year sort of thing.
Yeah, because the X-Men one was July, and then the
Yeah.
next one, the Death Grip, was September. So they did
Because
skip August.
that was a thing they did back then where not their all-star books, their like second tier, they would
Hmm.
ship bi-monthly.
Yeah.
So this may have been that a case of that, and I'll bet it was doing well enough to keep shipping bi-monthly, but also the prospect of having, you know, Cyclops and Beast and Iceman all back on the same team was probably more appealing than issue 43 of Dazzler.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they're definitely, we'll get there at the end of this, but there's a big X Factor reference, and we'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah, they tried to keep that momentum from the last one where
Oh,
we
for
had
sure.
the X Factor truck, or was it a truck or was it a billboard?
I can't remember.
Forgotten.
I think it was a van that just said like X Factor coming soon, which like also X Factor the first until Louise Simonson popped on that book. That was not a strong book. The first, I don't know, what is it, 7, 8 issues? What the period where Cyclops just walks out on his wife without his word?
Wow.
Not a strong move.
Cool guy.
What a guy. What a guy. Ah, Cyclops. So out of character, kind of, I guess. I don't know. Anyway,
Eh.
we're talking Dazzler issue 42.
The issue opens up in a completely dark room with two men squaring off. One older man, one younger man, interviewing the other one. The
And
older
do
man sitting down, or he can't tell if he's sitting down, but he asks him, "Run it down again for us, son. Like you never told it. This is pretty difficult to grasp." And so the younger man goes on his story, telling them about what happened. It's an out of the blue open. So we're starting at the end of the story, kind of, where
it's definitely a narrative structure that Dazzler has never seen before.
yeah, where this individual's telling us, sure, so much was going on. Most didn't even involve me anyway. I'm Arthur Allen Smith. So if you remember, we got introduced to him a little bit last
Yeah,
time
do we recognize this guy being interviewed maybe? Do we
during the
have we seen him before?
yeah. Well, we definitely saw him in the last issue
Oh yeah,
in prison,
he's back.
but now he's not in prison being interviewed, and we're
Well, clearly
not sure how we got there.
seems like he's going back to prison because in the third panel here, it's clearly an interrogation room more than an interview.
Yeah, it's completely dark. He's in a solitary chair. There's it's a goofy interview room because usually you would have one-way glass there, but you can clearly see through to the other side of the room through the glass.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
like,
got to
okay,
just be a art error thing. That's weird.
this is just, out in the open. Usually you can't see that person. He tells them about how he snuck out of the prison in Chanute and headed here. He knew he had to save her. What's this, Lieutenant? There's a story for me? So apparently there's a member of the press just in this room as well, which is so standard for criminal
Yeah.
interrogations.
First of all, he's not an accused criminal or anything. I think he's come in with a confession. I don't think he's been arrested. And immediately the detective is like, let's call the press for the interview. Let's do this.
Yeah, this feels like uh, I don't know that. What's the equivalent of just doing something just completely unsanitary in the kitchen? This doesn't seem like it's protocol at all. This
No,
seems
this
like
is a weird move to say the least.
this is not up to code.
This
But
is completely unsanitary in the kitchen. That would be cross-contamination is the word we're looking for. The guy who went to culinary school says cross-contamination, but it is just stupid.
Yeah, the detective turns to this reporter and says, "Nobody may ever get the full story, but you got yourself a front page. Guaranteed. This kid killed that mutant. You know the one who sang? Called herself the Dazzler." Okay. All right, detective, you didn't need the dramatic pause for me like that. I got it, but can you tell me what's going on? And
So
then we
Dazzler's dead, and this is the first time she's dead since, Secret Wars 2, when she was
Mhm.
dead 3 issues ago.
Yeah, for all of what, two panels?
Well, the length of destroying an entire galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah.
She just had to die long enough for Beyonder to destroy a galaxy for no real reason, and then she's back.
Right.
Anyway, so now we flash back, and this clearly can't be the story that what's his name, Arthur Allen Smith, is telling, because he has no idea what's going on at Camp Silence. He was never actually there. So I guess we're just flashing back. But anyway, we're at Camp Silence, and hey, it's Beast. He's back. They've remembered Beauty and the Beast exists.
Yeah,
So
remember that storyline, kids? That was an ordeal.
that was an ordeal. So Beast gets to Camp Silence, comes crashing through a window, starts screaming at the top. Beast is not a subtle man.
No, no.
Starts screaming at the top of his lungs, Allie, Allie, it's Hank McCoy, the Beast.
Hello.
Yeah, Hank, you guys for like 6 months. She knows who you are.
I feel like your first name, last name, it's like, okay, that's good enough. Then he's got to give his coat name too.
It's Hank
Wow.
McCoy, the Beast, PhD, Dr. Henry McCoy. You may know me as I've got blue fur. Do you remember we kissed? We kissed upside down that time.
Doctor in physics, genetics, and
Sometimes
engineering.
sometimes MD, I guess, when it
Yeah.
when it when it needs it.
Sometimes robotics. Really anything. Like
Future war criminal,
I was given the doctor label just for everything that can be a doctor.
just a science doctor. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Doctor of science.
Anything science related. Math, I can do that too.
Do you remember? I'm real agile. Helped out during that period where we were just banging them constantly.
Yeah. Yeah, you laughed at my blue penis.
Do you remember? Do you remember Hank McCoy?
There is no one there. He's just yelling and bouncing through the hallway across the walls. It's kind of a cool image when the way he's scaling through the hallways,
It is cool.
but it's also one of those things where, I mean, you already called it. It's not the most subtle way to
Oh no.
enter a home and look for someone. And if they were being held hostage, there's a good chance you get them hurt doing something like this, but whatever.
I mean, I do appreciate at least Archie Goodwin knows it. The narration box just says shouting was a bad strategy, but stealth wasn't really his style.
Right.
So, I mean, okay, I guess if you're writing in that Beast is kind of an idiot, that's fine.
I mean, while
But-
he takes some door path, looks like OZ used the front door.
Yep, definitely use the front door. And the front door slams open. Beast says, uh-oh. And then OZ just says, oh, it's only you, McCoy. So clearly they just are buddies tackling Camp Silence together.
Have they met before?
Not, I mean,
Not
off
in what we've
panel, I
read.
guess.
Yeah, not in what we've read. And yeah, how did he know Dazzler was there? How did OZ? Well, I mean, OZ could probably follow her. Sure, he's a bounty hunter, but Beast is just kind of injected into this story just for the sake of Beauty and the Beast because of their history. And
Sure.
I guess introducing Dazzler to another mutant team, but it's kind of hastily thrown together. At least the two of these two meeting and just knowing who each other are.
Yeah, it definitely felt like Archie Goodwin had a couple more issues planned before he was told this was the last one. So he was just like, yeah, I guess they met off screen. It's fine. Don't worry about it. They met. They're here to save Dazzler. They talked at some point. Don't worry about it. Which fair enough, I guess.
The last panel of this page kind of sums up what we're going to get the rest of this issue.
Oh, yeah.
Because after the two talk, Beast mentions, "Hey, you made this bunch sound pretty bad, Chase. If they got to Allie as you figure, reaching a dead end here is really bad news." And before he can finish, letting Beast know, all right, here's the next part of the plan. Your locating days are over. Two people were left behind to watch the home. One of them with a chainsaw and the other with a butane torch with a pack strapped to their back.
It's not even a flamethrower. I love that she's got the Bunsen burner lighter in her hand too.
Buckle up, kids, because this is the kind of wildness that we're gonna get. It's like,
And
oh,
not just two people. It's Chunk and Mama, the last two remaining Outriders.
and they're of all the things to it's like full on horror villains horror villain just introduction.
Yeah, but their
Chainsaw,
Geordie LaForge glasses really take a lot of the edge off, I gotta say.
yeah, it does make them a whole lot less intimidating. It's like Dr. Sachs all over again.
So good. I love it.
Goofy glasses.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Dazzler Comics really wanted to make these glasses a thing.
There's something about the 80s, I don't know, where they were just like, yeah, single line glasses. Those are the
The wave of the future, man.
yeah, these are future. And then people were like, I can't see up or down wearing these. This is dumb.
It's fantastic. But anyway, as
Before that
Beast and OZ
confrontation.
are surprised by two people wielding power tools coming up from the basement, we cut to Dazzler lying on a white panel, just pure white everywhere, as far as the eye can see.
It was
And
silence, total, oppressive, unrelenting.
so this is where we learn that Silence apparently has get out powers,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's like
That's what this is, right?
inverse get out powers. Because get out it was all dark.
Yeah,
This is like all plain white.
just plain white.
Yeah, the what was it? The underneath or the below?
A sunken place, I
The
believe.
sunken place, yeah. But Dazzler was just sitting on a bed, just a plain bed. And you can see
Yeah.
that she kind of snapped out of the haze because Silence turned the radio back on a little bit.
She gave her a little sound to end the silence, I guess. And it turns out they've left Camp Silence. Man, we're saying silence a lot.
Oh, it's
They-
only going to continue. Don't play the
They've-
drinking game, kids.
Son, when you participate in sporting events, it's not whether you win or lose, it's how drunk you get.
Yeah, do not. They've left Camp Silence and they've ended up in Tulsa, where, during their generation on the run with no money, Dust and Silence apparently bought an auditorium in Tulsa.
Yeah, just picking up real estate here and there, just in case.
It does state that they own it.
Just in case. Yeah.
They
But like,
leased this old auditorium when a new one was built. Which I also love. Like, so the city's building a new auditorium. You know how they just lease the old ones?
you think they'd go for a home, but no. We need a stage. We need a sound stage, honey.
It's so weird.
What do you think? Think a vacation home in Bermuda? You want to get a condo in Chicago to spend the nice springs and summers in the Windy City? Nah. Let's get an auditorium in Tulsa.
You know how they built? You read the papers. They're building that new auditorium in Tulsa. What do you think they're doing with the old auditorium in Tulsa?
Darling, we simply must have it.
What a gorgeous auditorium.
What a weird couple.
It's so bizarre. I don't know, but anyway, so I guess they're in an auditorium in Tulsa with, I gotta say, this auditorium has many bedrooms.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a hotel, basically.
It does look
get
like a
the-
hotel.
When you get the outside shot, it's like, that's an auditorium?
It looks like a hotel, and Tulsa looks like San Francisco. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been to Tulsa, but it looks too nice for Tulsa.
Yeah, I don't know. It does look too hilly to be Tulsa,
It,
but
it really does. I've always
haven't-
imagined Tulsa is pretty flat.
I mean, I haven't been there either, so who knows? Maybe there's
Whatever.
one.
But anyway, Dazzler has clearly been being used here for a while. I swear there had to be an issue that was cut because Archie Goodwin just didn't have another issue. Because Dazzler's talking about how you and your followers have needed my light and you've been doing this for a while. And Silence says, yes, until you experience it, it's hard to conceive of the power of pure silence. And of course, we've been very demanding on your talent, Alison. So this has been going on for a little bit. It's clearly like they juice up Dazzler for her to put on a light show to cleanse the drug that they put in homeless people that then had children that carried the drug. Remember, if you remember the whole situation. So Dazzler's been cleansing them with her magic light. And then apparently she's just tortured for a little bit until she has to put on another show again.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That seems to be the way of things. Am I right?
Yeah, my eyes hurt from rolling them way too hard at each of these little tirades.
Yeah.
Hard to imagine the power of silence. Everything. I mean, I understand that they had to jump ahead, but a lot of this is just kind of silly. Back at the ranch when you first confronted me, and I proved your mother's life depended on it to get her to coerce her to go along with their plan, and then also the big reveal that pain's a fair enough trade-off. After all, this is killing you. How?
Don't worry about it.
That doesn't seem to be the way that, because like when people use their powers, you would just think of it as them exercising. When you're like you're riding a bike, you're exerting yourself, you're running, you're throwing something, but it's just it's just an extension of you. You're just working out. So why would constantly using your abilities, why would doing something that's natural to you kill you? I mean, sure, it would make you tired if you're doing it all the time, but why? What would make her think that this is killing her? It's just her logic is kind of silly and just. I understand it was probably just something done for dramatic effect, or just because this is just stupid. But
Don't worry about it, because we're back to the fight at Camp Silence with Beast and OZ Chase.
yeah, fighting.
No time to think about logic. We're back in the chainsaw butane torch fight.
Yeah, fighting the lumberjack and the
The welder.
Yeah, the welder. This is fun, but also really silly. The look on Ozzy's face as he reaches for his shotgun and he has a flame jutting out towards him is pretty priceless.
It looks like he's like made of straw. He's so afraid of this flame.
Right. Beast dispatches Chunk pretty quickly and pretty swiftly.
So fast. Chunk swings the chainsaw once. Beast leaps in the air and just kicks him in the face, and he's down.
I like what he says when he leaps over it, too. Hey, let's be real. I wish that was all he said. Let's be real.
I like this whole thing.
But you're dealing with a highly trained professional.
Yeah. Sure, that is a nasty weapon and everything on you. And, no, I mean, I don't really like the fat shaming here. Sure, that is a nasty weapon, and everything on you that looks like fat may really be muscle, but you're dealing with a highly trained professional here. And then he leaps off of Chunk, who now has goblin ears on the floor here for some reason.
Oh yeah, it stomps on his head.
Yep.
Yike! He gets stops when the torch gets turned towards him.
I mean, he's very hairy. There's a lot to singe.
He's extraordinarily flammable.
He really is.
When Mama's attention's turned, OZ takes the opportunity to trip her.
Kick her in the shins?
Yeah, just full on sweep the leg while he needed the time while she's on the ground to pat out his sleeve because she did set his coat on fire.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. She did.
Yeah.
That's gotta hurt a little.
Yeah. Beast lands on her back and tries to butt stomp the back of her head, which didn't do enough.
Nope.
Or he didn't hit her hard enough because she turned around pretty angry and was
But here
ready
comes Cerberus.
ready to set her on fire. But yeah, Cerberus saves the day.
He's chomping at the what is it? The tube that goes from the gas tank to the torch.
Cuts off its fuel supply, and by
they're
then,
down.
Yeah, she's subdued.
She's subdued. OZ talks about how much Cerberus misses Dazzler, and she's got that effect on people.
It was a cute little moment.
Yeah.
He finally gets the time to pull out his shotgun and aim it right in her face, and
which is his move.
Basically asks her politely, "Why don't you go ahead and tell us where your boss is taking Dazzler now?"
And we cut back to Tulsa.
The big nice soundstage building.
It does look like a soundstage. But anyway, we're back in Tulsa, and Allie is led to a room that is holding her mom. So apparently they really did kidnap her mom, even though last issue it really felt like they were lying about that.
Yeah, I don't think that they ever said how they got a hold of her mom.
Nope.
Like they did get a hold of her dad, because like the dad, it kind of made sense. He made a call, told him.
Oh yeah,
told him
that did make sense.
Your daughter's in trouble, and he came rushing, and then he basically got abducted there. Mom, no idea.
But they've got her sedated because they have just several vials and syringes on the table next to her where they're keeping her in like a weird twilight. She can still talk. She knows Allie's there and is very upset that she's put Allie in this situation. But she's also like really out of it, which is really dark if you consider that she's a recovering drug addict. I don't think they really thought that through at the time, but man, it's a dark move.
Well, she remembers that feeling. Maybe she called Allison by her sister's name a couple of times while she was in that haze.
I was wondering, do you think she ever went like, Allie, where's Lois? What? She went to visit you in New York one day and just I never heard from her again.
I think when Allison first showed up, her mom was like, "Oh, Lois, you came for me." She's just like, "Oh, I'm Allison. You know, the one that you left, the one that
And the
actually
one who didn't
cares."
leave you for her abusive father.
Yeah. Yeah, the one who's not with the skeezy dad.
But
But yeah,
yeah, and I know the next question you're asking, listener out there. You're wondering why doesn't Dazzler just take out Silence and rescue her mother? Well, what you don't know yet is that Portia is standing guard.
well, that and yeah, they infected her with their drug too. So
Yeah,
does
they
does
did.
Allison's mom have powers now?
No,
I
but her children might. If she were to have more children at 70 years old, they would be carriers, and Dazzler could activate their powers.
Yeah.
So she definitely does not, but she's dying from the drug. Oh, but also Dust and Silence took the drug directly and got powers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Dazzler's mom can murder people and body hop. Who knows?
Yeah.
That'd be weird. I wish this series had continued forever. But anyway,
Dazzler gets a little sassy, like you mentioned, and
Portia's keeping guard, and Portia is wearing just the best cream bodysuit that apparently Silence has designed for her guards.
yeah, it's a pretty generic, like sinister Kermit look.
I'm gonna make the whole world deaf from all of your screams. Doodle-a-doodle-a-doo.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Complete with sweet, sweet goggles.
Yeah. She's beckoned to give Dazzler a quick zadak when she's getting a little bit too sassy.
Yeah, because she can control electron particles in the atmosphere.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. You get it,
Okay.
Portia. Portia really hit Dazzler hard. And then Silence picks up Dazzler from the ground and starts talking about how angry she is that you crushed Jared and her husband Dust under that rock and everything that happened last issue. If you want to know what happened, listen to the last episode. We don't need to recap the whole thing again, right?
No, we get a little flashback, and she pulls Dazzler up, letting her know, hey, you're going to do what we say. Rest assured, my brightly shining mutant star, that by the time you do, it will be your last act. For my mother's sake, we won't test your theories right now, but if I got only one thing out of my show business career, Silence, it's being a survivor. Let's get on with it. They leave the room. Allison's mom's freaking out. She's kind of snapped out of her haze a little bit. Don't do this. Save yourself. I'm not worth it. The stuff that I guess someone should have been telling her earlier on.
Oh, for sure.
Let Dazzler know before she ran off into the night by herself without any backup. Because this all seems like it could have gone so much smoother.
Oh, so much smoother.
But that's neither here nor there.
Nope.
Downstairs to the one-time concert hall's auditorium. And another forced performance.
Yeah, Silence leads Dazzler to the stage, tells her she better do what she says for her mother's sake, and it's like, yeah, you just said this. We know. Oh, we know.
Just gotta bang it home. Gotta make sure she heard. Make sure she knows she's serious.
So yeah, Dazzler takes the stage, and it's probably here that we should compress audio and talk about what the performance is in just a moment. We're back. We're back, and Dazzler's taking the stage. The sound is pumped up, and she's just on stage, standing there, shooting sound over the crowd, and they're just absorbing it, lapping it up. Yum, 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 light.
Yummy.
They look kind of like, well, most of them look like they're watching a 3D movie because they all got the goofy glasses on. But it also reminds me of is it the old Maxell picture where the guy's sitting in the chair in front of like the stereo system and
Oh, and it's getting
the
just
sounds blowing his hair back.
yes.
Some of the people look like that, and then there's one
Some of
woman.
them, well, some of them look like that old, was it a Super Bowl ad, that Apple ad where everybody's just like drones watching a screen and then somebody throws a hammer into the screen and
The
it shatters
19
and but they look like just drones sitting there going like, light.
the 1984-esque
Yes.
commercial where
Yes.
they throw the hammer in there. Yeah, I know what you mean. The one woman is standing up in a pose that I can only describe as white girl euphoria, or preppy white girl euphoria, where she has her fists balled up and tight to her chest, just like, yeah, just basking in it. But then we do see one character, Arthur Allen Smith.
What's he doing there?
He he's there and he just kind of looks puzzled. He's he's thinking, and Silence's mood and feelings chillingly touch his mind. And he's thinking to himself, she's the one. She's the one who sends out the whispers I hear, who's been calling me, and all these others like me, who means to harm the lady. And then we get a little story about Arthur Allen Smith and how he came to be there. About after his arrest for car theft, landed him in an adult facility. He managed to know
An adult
this-
facility. We're talking prison. Nothing,
Yeah.
nothing. I've never heard it called an adult facility. I guess because he was in and out of juvie his whole life, but
It's like they were trying to make him out to be like younger than he looks, but like he looks kind of young, but he doesn't look like he's in his 20s. It looks like he's maybe in his 30s.
he's got a receding hairline for sure.
Yeah. But he talks about how when he's in prison, he learns that he has this ability.
Well,
He never
no,
possessed before.
But before he even got to prison, you're skipping over my favorite part, that he's in and out of jail his whole life, and during one of his brief stints of freedom, he just decides to go to a Dazzler concert, which I absolutely love. He's just like, well, I'm going back to stealing cars tomorrow, but tonight, it is time for a Dazzler concert.
The lady. He reveres her too much to even call her by her name.
Oh, yeah. No, she's the lady.
Settle
But it was-
down, friend.
It was at
That'll-
that concert, just like how the Outriders were at, the Los Angeles airport display of power. It was at her concert when we get a little reflection of her still wearing her white disco suit when he saw her perform, and it's there that his powers were awakened.
That's right.
Sorry I went back for that, but now we can continue with Arthur Allen Smith's story.
Well, that makes me wonder now, too. Do you think Death Grip's daughter also had some kind of powers before she was all goofy and comatose?
Maybe.
Maybe she had something fishy up with her, too. Maybe we could have gotten more about her if this series continued beyond this issue.
It's possible. It is possible. I don't know.
But
Good question.
when after Arthur talks about this concert, he talks about when he went to prison, he found out he had new abilities after that concert. How he could hide somehow, go unnoticed in plain sight, which is one of the most lazy or just kind of boring abilities that you could give somebody. What's your
I think it's
ability?
pretty cool.
What's your ability, Arthur? Oh, I can turn invisible.
Watch this. Look over there. I'm caught.
But you're still standing there. Hey, where'd you go? I'm right here. How come I can't see you? Oh, cause I'm just making you not see me.
You could be a pretty good spy if you really tried with a power like that, though. There's some cool stuff you could do.
Yeah, but I mean cameras. So it's like while everybody else doesn't see you. How far does this extend?
I don't know, but it was 1985. Security
Yeah.
systems weren't that good.
But
Everything was based on line of sight.
Yeah. Well, he learns that he has these abilities when a scene out of Shawshank Redemption is happening, where it looks like the sisters are about to have their way with Andy Dufresne, but just in the middle of the prison yard, he's just standing by watching.
Yeah.
It enabled him to survive and find a relatively happy life as a model prisoner. This is sad. He's just there.
Yeah.
But just one day, though he found his prison life comforting, less overwhelming than times he'd been alone and unwanted in the outside world,
Which is also just wildly upsetting.
Arthur stretched his small power as never before. and one day just walked out of prison, got on a bus, and took off to go see the lady.
Well, he heard the whispers from last issue. The whispers of silence calling her children or something. I don't know. It's a little vague.
Yeah, he stole a van and apparently got a gun.
Not just a gun. I want to be clear. Not just a gun. A 357 Magnum.
Make my day.
All
And
the rage.
I love the conversation he's having or not he's having, that two cowboys are having while he steals this van. There's just one guy that's like, shoot fire. Muties are everywhere. I saw that singer on the TV. Look prettier than real woman. Which, wild. And then the guy he's talking to.
Most real woman, as opposed to the fake ones and the inflatable one I got in my mom's bedroom.
Yeah, whatever. This whole thing is out of control. And the guy he's talking to just dang scary. You could be offering one of them a ride. Never even know it. That's why he started hiding my 357 Magnum in my van. What? Okay.
Yeah, because you need a hand cannon for close range. That makes sense.
So then Arthur Allen Smith stole the van, found the Magnum, tucked it in his waistband, and came to, I was going to say Camp Silence, but no, this auditorium in Tulsa.
Yeah, tucked it into the front of his waistband too, which in general, bad idea. Very, very bad idea. Even
Whatever, nobody's noticed.
Even with the safety on. Well, no, he's going to blow his off.
It's a Magnum. It's not just he's blowing his whole left leg off.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
He's gonna have a bad time if that thing goes off.
But anyway, he's just sitting there watching with a gun in his waistband, thinking about his story. Then all of a sudden he shoots up from his seat and shouts, "The lady!" And Dazzler has passed out on stage. Okay, I guess she overexerted herself.
Yeah,
and
Silence again thinks her plan's just going according.
Just so perfectly.
Everything's going up. Everything's coming up. Silence.
Everything's coming up. Silence. She proclaims there's one more session needed, and then she'll be cleansed for good. And then we cut to OZ Chase and Beast just on a buddy road trip, which I wish there was a whole issue of that.
The truck is yellow, then the truck's blue. Beast is having a little bit of a time with Cerberus. Cerberus doesn't like him sitting up front, and
no, too many animals in the front seat for Cerberus's take.
Beast is kind of pleading with OZ, and OZ is just like, "Hey, man, it is what it is. Whatever is ahead, it's way out of my league. Saw enough before I went off to find you to convince me of that. We got off easy at Camp Silence." So apparently, I guess OZ actually went out and found Beast to get some backup. How he knew Beast was a longtime partner, I don't know. Maybe
Beast talks about how Dazzler is the woman he loves most in the world, despite not having seen her since Beauty and the Beast. So who knows if during the 6-state drive that Dazzler was doing with OZ Chase, she was just chittering on about her boyfriend Hank McCoy that she hasn't seen in 6 months.
Yeah, that probably had to be it. That had to be it.
No, I have this boyfriend. I promise he's real. You don't know him, but he's from a different state. He's real hairy and blue. What? Wait, what? He's a scientist. He's a doctor of science.
I mean, why would you lie about all that?
Which science? All of them.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound real. No, he is. He's just a doctor of science.
He's got little beaker potions, and he's got little robots. He does all kinds of stuff.
He wears a lab coat sometimes. A lab coat and what else? Briefs? Is this like what you do in the bedroom? No, that's how he goes out. He just wears a lab coat and briefs.
It's hot. The
blue briefs. Didn't you say he was blue? Yeah, it's the same color. Don't worry about it. There's a yellow belt so you know that he's not naked.
The fur's very dense. It's not like you see his nips or anything, you know.
He's got 2 underfangs that it's when he kisses.
They're so smooth. just like to rub them up against my cheek.
They just protrude right out over his upper lip. Hank, you're a real catch, man.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Dazzler's in the Silence place, just running through her subconscious and all white.
But this time she feels like there might be an escape from the Silence, which I guess this doesn't really come into play.
It don't matter. None of this matters.
But she tells Portia to guard Allie as she's passed out on this bed. Says, we've got plenty of head start, but let's get some guards out here because there's going to be people coming for us. I left Mama and Chunk behind to make sure they guided them here, which, why? If you hadn't done that, I guarantee you Beast and OZ Chase would not be looking for auditoriums in Tulsa.
Yeah, there's some absent logic here.
It's really weird.
Stay alert, on guard. Besides our enemies, I'd hope for at least one more recruit to our ranks. Dust, she thinks to herself. We had the dream for so many, many years, long enough to lose our original identities, to become what our powers made of us. How can you not be here now, my love? Well, back on the stage, she's talking to one of her cronies. They'll receive the strongest effect.
I didn't realize how many of these green suits she had
row.
made for all of them. They're
Oh, yeah,
all green suited up.
They're all of them. They all look like, oh, that's what they remind me of now. Remember the old Jonny Quest cartoon? There was the amphibious guys, the guys who were wearing like the green
Oh yeah,
green frogmen suits. They remind me of those. They remind me of those.
Hachi was a good look with 2024 eyes, right?
Sim sim salabim.
Nope.
Well, they did do the reboot in like what 1997.
The Real Adventures of Jonny
Yeah,
Quest.
the Real Adventures where they had the bad CG. Quest
And
World.
they added in Race Bannon's hot daughter.
Yeah, Quest World. Log in.
Great.
Subject: Jonny Quest.
Even so, Haji not a great look in hindsight.
Yeah, I think they did a joke about that on Family Guy where he's like, Sim Sim Salabim. He's like, yeah, don't do that, man.
That's not representing anybody well.
He's like, yeah, man, don't do that.
I forgot he had a catchphrase.
Yeah, Sim,
And then it
Sim
was
Salabim, and he
blatantly
could,
racist.
and he would like levitate things
Oh,
because that's a power that Indian people have.
that Hindu people have.
Yeah.
Oof.
It's a power that they have. They can move things with their mind.
Nope.
Anyway, I cut you off talking about all these green suited guys.
Yeah, they're out doing a soundstage check and figuring out who's going to sit where. While they're doing that,
Which is super important.
God,
Gotta make sure that the people who are in the back get rotated to the front so they get the most Dazzler light, because that's how that works. Don't question it. That's how that works.
sure.
Meanwhile, Arthur Allen Smith is just sneaking around,
He's kind of sulking, right?
skulking around, using his hiding power with his gun down his pants. But it gets dark really quick.
So
As-
dangerously positioned.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
I can't get over it.
But it does get dark really quick as Arthur remembers his gun, and then it slowly dawns on him the only way he can save the lady.
I mean, he already talks like a serial killer, so you know nothing good is coming of this.
Nothing can come of this.
So in the auditorium, folks are getting seated. Two people basically plop Dazzler's mom out in the front row. Good move.
He is looking not good.
Yeah. Good move, as we find out. A weak and waning Barbara London was brought to a first row seat. And the moment that all previous activity was a prelude to at last arrived. Music thundered louder than ever. And
Dazzler absorbs all of it and
surprise,
she focuses straight on her mom, who absorbs all of the cleansing mystical light of Dazzler. And then as this is happening and Silence is freaking out saying she's got too much control, she shouldn't be able to have this much control, we cut to Beast and OZ Chase, who have arrived, and Beast asks if OZ Chase can cause a distraction. OZ says he's got it and drives his truck straight into the side of the auditorium, which, I mean, not just drives it in while thundering his shotgun.
Terminator style, just drives his truck full on into there. He doesn't even bother with a walking in first.
No
Truck.
Which
Straight
I gotta
truck.
say, as distractions go, is definitely a distraction.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
It's
Solid
a good
distraction.
one.
Solid distraction.
Just firing your shotgun forward as you drive into a wall. Silence is a little thrown off by this.
Yeah, she says it sounds like a full scale attack. Yeah, it kind of is.
It kind of is.
Yeah. It's not so much a distraction as it is just a full-fledged attack.
And then Beast comes swashbuckling, swinging in from a stage rope.
That's his move, I guess. Whenever there's some kind of like stage, he's gonna find a rope and he's gonna swing in like Tarzan.
Yeah, kicking at least 3 people in the face while doing it.
Yeah, OZ gets out of his truck and he gets out in on the action. Did he come through the windshield or did the windshield just break and then he climbed out of the front and then starts swinging his swinging his shotgun like an axe?
I don't know. I think there are people out the side, which Cerberus is leaping out the side,
Yeah.
leaping out the window to get people. I think that he let Cerberus take that angle and just blasted his windshield out, climbed on the hood of his van.
Yeah, swinging his shotgun around like a mighty axe.
Beast is beating up people. Dazzler's really playing no part in her own finale, which is a bold choice.
Yeah, she gets clutched by Silence, who is doing something to her. I guess absorbing all the sound so that there's nothing left. Because apparently that's Dazzler's kryptonite now. I don't know when that became a thing, but now it's a thing. It's making her sweat. It's making her dizzy. It's making her feel bad. And that maddening void of silence struck Alison Blair harder than ever before.
Yeah, this was weird.
Earlier, she had sensed a way to oppose this force, now suffocating her. Now she had to learn if she could set her mind, could turn her will, and use that way. If drowning in the endless waves of silence, she could find sound. All right, I suppose. Then she turns into Banshee for a moment.
Yeah, she does banshees. She absorbs sound and sends it back as sound.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
which they're saying the whole comic they have said that she's a sound transducer, and they're saying like, well, what if she doesn't transduce the sound? And my response is that's not what she does.
yeah. I mean, the one solace I get out of this is it kind of looks like she's power burping Silence away from her,
which is a great image.
But
yeah, she banshee screams, which I don't think she's ever done again.
Yeah, I'd be stunned if she had.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where it's like, oh, maybe she just yelled really, really loud. All that vocal training, just get off her. But
if you can yell loud enough to send a lady flying 30 feet from vocal training, kudos to you.
Well, not only that, just reduce her to a decomposing husk.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
after that,
I guess being yelled at broke Silence's concentration over whatever she was using to hold back death. So all of a sudden she's just like an old crone, and then she just dies. She just passes it out and dies right there. She's done. It was really weird, man. I don't know what to do with any of this.
She gets a Carter Blair exit, just abrupt, sudden, and okay, this is happening. But wait a minute. But wait a minute. That's not all.
There's more.
Cerberus gets OZ Chase to snap out of it. And all the other I guess the kid cronies or descendant cronies, they scatter like flies.
Yeah, they want nothing to do with any of this.
We learn that suddenly they were free of the mental control from which she had shaped, guided, and used them, and could not deal with it.
Yeah, okay, man.
But with certain exceptions. And we see one in particular, just one, grabbing Alison's mom by her face.
Is this Portia from before?
I couldn't tell because
they all kind of look the same, honestly.
They really all look the same. They all got a Cyclops haircut. They all got like the side face warmer costume. So you can't tell one from the other with those glasses.
It's true. But yeah, one of them grabs, and as they point at Dazzler, their hand starts turning into dust. And it turns out that Dust escaped. He made it out of Carter Blair's decomposing body. He hopped into his passed out protege, Jared.
Jared, man.
Come on, Jared.
I knew he'd be a problem again. Jared, the mover.
See, that was Dazzler's the mover. Oh, I missed the mover. That was Dazzler's mistake, is leaving his young partner, Jared, unconscious nearby. And so I guess Silence mentally prodded Jared awake from that distance, which I didn't realize his victims needed to be awake when it happened, which makes it a lot darker, honestly.
It makes him also pretty formidable if he can do it without touching them. Because remember, Carter's body was like done.
Yeah.
It was in pieces, shambles. But apparently there was enough of him to or enough of his consciousness that he could slip over into unconscious or barely conscious Jared.
Yeah, I don't know. From Jared, he went into a guard and ended up here. Ended up here in this. I don't know. Silence thought many times about how Dust was dead, and it's weird that he didn't tell Silence like, "Hey, honey, I'm back and just in this body."
Well, and she could. Remember they told us at the end of the previous issue that she could feel him fade away.
She said it
She could
again
feel his
in
presence.
this issue.
Yeah, she could feel his presence, but in this issue, she couldn't. She couldn't sense he was nearby.
I don't know. It's weird.
Was that like his way of just being like, all right, I love my wife, but I kind of need a break. So let
I
me
don't know.
let me just unplug for a little while and let her do her thing for a bit, and then when she gets all Dazzler's power, I can surprise her and be like, hey, honey, I'm back.
I do find it very bizarre.
What are his motivations?
I don't know, but Dazzler lunges at him. I keep saying him, which is weird because he's in a female guard's body, so it looks like a her while I'm reading it, but Dust is clearly a him.
Yeah, now he's in a lady.
But Dazzler lunges at Dust. Beast just screams, "Allie, resist that thing. I'm coming to help." Beast, you are just absolutely worthless.
Beast in that picture looks kind of like Nicolas Cage.
Oh, he does look like Nicolas Cage.
You know, I can eat a page for hours.
Just a very distressed and concerned Nicolas Cage. But in that moment, the Beast never reached the battle. For in the next moment, there was light, brilliant, blinding, radiating with almost physical force. And in its fading light, there was the Dazzler.
And she's pissed. So she's just completely dazzled Dust Portia. But then, out of nowhere, shots are fired from a giant magnum in the hands of Arthur Allen Smith. And
That's off three shots.
Beast looks distraught. Barbara London is yelling, "Alison? Alison!"
Snake! What happened? Snake! Snake!
And there's so much blood. So much blood. And Arthur Allen Smith is just saying, I know it seems awful, but really, I've saved her. You'll see. Now the lady's freed. Freed from all the hatred, all the scheming. Honest. Then the whole building starts to collapse, I guess.
I don't know what happened that was this Allison's like rage-fueled light explosion that messed up the building's foundation? Because I'm confused as to why the building started to crumble and
I was
the whole
too.
place
I'm
is
going to
collapsing.
just assume it was the 3 shots into Dazzler's chest caused the whole building to collapse.
Okay.
I mean, they mentioned a couple times it was like a week-old building, which, come on, guys, if you're going to invest in a crumbling auditorium, at least fix it up a little.
Yeah. Get those foundations fixed up. McCoy, OZ yells. The whole place is collapsing. Don't get killed trying to finish that little psycho. We owe it to Allie to get her mother out of here. Then that's all that we see of that scene for now. We go back to the interrogation room where the reporter and the detective are talking. The squad car teams, telephone complaint brought them, rushed in just after the shots. But the joint began crumbling down, forced them to retreat before they could make a collar. When the dust settled, a pickup that crashed into the foyer was gone. But Arthur was still there, sitting in the rubble beside the mutant lady's body, proud as a peacock. So actually, maybe it was OZ's fault that the building collapsed.
Maybe. That makes sense.
Driving his truck into the building.
I guess if you're in a dilapidated building, losing a wall isn't really going to help your structural integrity.
Right. And the reporter recounts, I killed her to save her. The death of Alison Blair, world's most infamous mutant. Like you said, Lieutenant. Front page, guaranteed. I and our circulation department owe you large. You just ask them, just spell my name right, man. A lot of loose ends on this one, but the important stuff's all in place. A perpetrator, a motive, and a smoking gun. As Arthur sips on his hot coffee or hot tea. Then we get an epilogue page, which was sudden, but also, okay, I kind of saw this coming, but what was this all for?
Yeah.
What was this all for?
I do love that OZ's truck is completely beat to
Yeah. And it's kind of like a lavender purple. See, I told the rest of you he'd come to see us off. No argument. After today, we'll all believe anything. The only problem is, I'm still smarting from being made to think it was you who took those shots, Sally, rather than the body Dust was controlling. So we see Allison giving Arthur a little two-handed handshake.
And the gang's all here. Allie's up and fine. Beast is here. OZ, Barbara London, Cerberus in the window.
Yeah. So what was the point? And Arthur turns to Beast and he says, the police were coming, Mr. McCoy. I'd phoned them once I realized my power had grown from experiencing the lady's light a second time. But your reactions as those officers first entered made what I was doing completely convincing. So this was all an illusion, at least the end of the shots, the blood was all a construct of Arthur's, I guess, something that he projected to make people believe that that's how it went down. But
yeah, I guess.
I don't understand the purpose of it if Alison had already subdued Dust.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
It was like, because we learned that there was no like real charges against Alison, right? Because that was the whole point. The whole thing to get her to hire OZ Chase was a ruse. It was conceived by Dust and what's her face Silence to get Alison for them.
Yeah.
He called her father so that he could, start to put that plan in place. So like the cops really they weren't looking for Alison at all. So he called the cops, faked her death so that she could be free from, I guess, the tabloids and make it easier for her to get a job again. Maybe that's what he was doing.
I don't know. Or nobody's after her. It's all kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Arthur Allen Smith walks off into the night. Allie gives her mom a heartfelt goodbye, says bye to OZ and Cerberus, and then walks away arm in arm with Beast.
Yeah, they strut off down the sidewalk, I guess. Well, Hank, any suggestions for a recently deceased mutant lady anxious to make a new start? Well, a lot of factors to be considered, Daz. Huh? For instance, not that I dream of exerting influence, but how does the X factor strike you?
So this is interesting, and we should say that's it. That's the last panel. That is the end of the Dazzler solo series. But this is a little interesting. Yeah, because as they're walking away, and he mentions X Factor, so Chris Claremont was pushing really hard to get Allison into X Factor and be one of the original X Factor members, because editorial really wanted the original 5 X-Men, and he had killed off famously Jean Grey in Dark Phoenix and did not want her being brought back. And so he was pushing Dazzler would be great, do the 4 boys and have Dazzler in the mix. I mean, she's already 2 of them. There's got to be some good stories there. She had her thing with Angel. She had her thing with Beast. Great stories. Let's do it. And it turns out he lost, and they ended up resurrecting Jean Grey, and Dazzler's never in X Factor. So there's like this weird hint at the end of Dazzler that just never comes to fruition.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fun.
That's it. Just an interesting tidbit.
Yeah. Oh, but that's not all for this collection, because we get a side story that's like 8 pages of Dazzler hanging out with Rogue.
Ooh. Yeah, we'll cover that. Why not?
Which was a fun little bitty.
We'll cover that, and through my research, I've got 3 more issues of Dazzler stories for us to cover as well. Not the Dazzler series, but some fun Dazzler stories.
Thanks for listening to the Almost an X-Men podcast. You can find us at all of your usual podcast spots, your Apple Music, your Google Play, not Google Play, Google, I don't know anymore. iHeartRadio,
whatever it is.
Wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Pandora, probably on there. YouTube sometimes. Wherever you find the podcast, we're likely on there.
Yeah, and you can follow us at Dazzler Podcast on Instagram. Email us at dazzlerpodcast@gmail.com. And fun fact, I never deleted our Twitter account, even though I don't really use it anymore. But I went to it, and turns out we are being followed by many sexy bots.
Oh, yeah.
So if you would like to join the rank of sexy robots following our podcast, you can also find us on Twitter if you want to join the ranks of real people, Instagram is the place for you.
So
But I think that
next time we have the mini issue duet. And what's the first one for next time?
well, we've got 3 issues. We will announce them. They are, I can tell you now, they are X-Men Unlimited Volume 1, number 32, Uncanny X-Men Volume 1, number 228, and Uncanny X-Men Volume 1, number 260. Because we're covering Dazzler's solo work, one of them has appearances by much of Dazzler's supporting cast, including the great Harry S. Osgood. One of them is a Roman Nakobo story. He's back.
Oh, man.
And one of them actually stars O.Z. Chase in his last appearance. We will have read every O.Z. Chase appearance in comics.
And I guess that kind of makes up for
So
having to deal with Roman again.
I think the Roman Nakobo one is a Chris Claremont issue, though. So it might be kind of fun. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. But we're gonna hit up all 3 of those, and then I think it's Firestar for us after that.
But yeah, join us next time for Duet and 1 or 2 more Dazzler issues.
Yep. And until next week, go for it.